who's on the phone, Stanley?
Okay, our first caller says she is one. It's Gillian on line 1.
Morning, Gillian.
Morning.
Morning. So you are afraid of young people?
It started out being just afraid of young people, and now I'm afraid of everyone. I don't leave my house anymore.
What do you?
I live in a really small village. It used to be a really nice place to live.
Yeah.
Until because I have a disability, I have arthritis and I have trouble walking. I used to feel quite worried if there were gangs of the teenage boys, like the ones that play rugby. When I was taking my dogs for a walk in the woods, if they were there, you know, you used to get comments and things, and I just sort of laugh it off and say, yeah, right, you know.
Yeah.
But I felt vulnerable because I thought if they all sort of came over and pushed me down, I wouldn't be able to get up.
Yeah, but equally you could say, if the moon was to fall out of its orbit and drop on your head, you would also be hurt. But that hasn't happened, and the teenage boys pushing you over didn't happen.
No, but I think they knew how I felt. They could probably tell.
Isn't that Armando's point, that if you have negative vibes about someone, they will pick up negative vibes, and you're into a chicken and egg situation as whose negative vibes came first?
Probably. I mean, but my fear is so bad now, I don't leave my house.
And do you see anybody, a counsellor or anything like that?
I've got a psychiatric nurse. I'm waiting to have a domiciliary appointment that's going to be happening next week. They had to resubmit me to the system because they decided there was nothing they could do for me, and they signed me off. Mm. But now it's got so bad that I didn't even want to leave my bedroom.
But can you see the irrationality of it? That nothing has happened.
Totally irrational. You know?
Again? Say again?
But at night time, when I can hear gangs of boys outside on the street drunk, and they decide it's really fun now to bang my windows and make my dogs bark.
That's not nice. That's not nice.
You know, and it's associate. They decided now. I'm not agoraphobic, to give it a label. I'm not ephebiphobic. I'm now sociophobic.
Okay. Okay. All right, Gillian.
I've got to put up with.
Well, thank you for the call. I mean, a condition like that is not something you should have to put up with. It's a condition you should deal with, and I'm glad to see you're getting some help. Thank you. Let's have another. Go on, sorry, Armando. Go on.
Oh, well, no, there was just an interesting statistic that came out last year, which was that the crime statistics went down, but the fear of crime went up.
Yeah.
And we're now blaming people for the fear of the things that we think they're going to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's, a paradox. Let's have another call then, please.
We've got 18-year-old Joshua on line 3.
Joshua, good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, I'm scared. No, I'm not. You sound all right.
Hi there.
What do you want? No. So what's it like being 18? What do you think? What kind of reaction do you get from older people?
I get the same reaction as most 18-year-old children, a very negative, most older people, a very negative view, a very looked down upon by everyone, and I believe the media is to blame as well. Whenever you see teenagers in the news, it's another teenager stabbed a teenager, and that's a big thing. People look at it as a big thing. If an adult kills another person, it's, just another killing. It's nothing. But if a teenager does that, or if a teenager does something wrong, there's a big commotion about it, and the world gets in some huff that teenagers are terrible. When if a teenager does something right, there's never any press on that.
Yeah, you get a bad press. I don't think anybody would argue with that. Do you think that there are some sections of the teenage community that may be responsible for generating some of this bad press?
Yes, again, it's like a small majority getting the majority the bad name. I mean, I live in South London, which is gang quite ridden all over, and but still, there's no respect between older or younger people. A young person will stare at an old person, an old person will stare at a young, but there is no respect between any of them.
And Terry's idea or theory that perhaps lack of spend on youth clubs, activities, the high cost of activities that are there, do you think that's partly to blame?
Yeah, and I've got every sympathy for Christian youth clubs that run, but at the end of the day, 17 and 18-year-old boys like myself do not want to be going to Christian youth clubs.
Yeah. What about football or something like that? I mean, in my part, you're not allowed to play football. You have to go to a football pitch, which you have to approach through the council. I don't know if you have to pay for them, but you certainly have to ask permission.
Well, there's a place called Goals, not far where I live, which is a football thing, and but again, it's money. It's £40 for an hour, and I don't think there's enough stuff promoting to children and young adults. I don't think there's enough
Okay. All right. Joshua, thank you very much for the call. Appreciate it. Let's have a quick word with our audience, Eric.
Okay, well, next is Robert. So, Robert, are you ephebiphobic?
I guess I am to an extent, or at least I'm afraid of what might happen when you've got a group of youths, especially at night. You're approaching them, you're outnumbered. You don't
Has
know what
anything
they're
ever
gonna do.
happened to you?
No, it hasn't. I say it's a fear. It's not. I've never had any problems. I've sort of walked by groups before and nothing's happened, but it's still good.
So what's changed?
I guess,
why do you have that feeling now?
I guess it's because of what you read in the papers, that you hear all the muggings, stabbings, and I guess that creates a fear. Irrationally, maybe, but it does. Well, it does with me.
Yeah, no. As I said, I mean, I've had it myself. I really have. I find it hard to believe, Yasmin, that you haven't, because just in a physical sense, when you see a large group of people...
Suffer. And, you know, my mum was like that. She was once cornered by a gang and stoned just before Christmas. And she was buying a CD, or going to buy a CD for my son. And she sort of talked to them, got two of them to go to Woolies to buy the CD. Now, I couldn't have done that. But she was incredible, and she could not speak very good English.
But nobody talks to a lot of these kids, and again, you know, in even areas, you know, where I grew up, it had a bad reputation, but that bad reputation would have been caused in an area that thousands of people lived in. About 20 kids.
Yes. They say, don't they, you get crime waves from just one person.
Absolutely. And of course, they're the ones that make the headlines, and that's what you read about in the papers. But, you know, 5 kids sit on park bench and talk about Doctor Who is not going to get on the front page of the Mail, really. You know, it's and you know, that's happening all the time. But you know,
and I mean, there's kids now hanging out on the streets who really, in our day, would have been in the pub. 16 and 17-year-olds. Well, you would have been in the pub, and then they'd have behaved in there, and there was somewhere for them to go.
Well, we've had publicans on this show before saying they wish they could have younger people in where they could keep an eye on them rather than having them run amok. I think it's a fascinating debate. I've got my oldest friend is a youth worker, and you hear, well, was a youth worker. He eventually got made redundant when his post was shut down, which is kind of indicative of how governments have treated youth.
We'll open a chain of pubs for 16-year-olds.
Can I be barmaid?
Yeah, but we'll only sell beer and wine.
And I can tell them not to smoke. Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great.
OK, thanks for all your calls on that. After the ads, hands up, and Mrs Tony Blair. He earns £6,000 a minute public speaking, so somebody must. I know he led us into an illegal war. Thousands have died, but when you look at the mess we're in now, there's a little bit of you secretly pine for the reassuring smile of Tony Blair. 0207 173 5555 is the number to dial. Do you miss Tony Blair? Really? Your shout after the ads.
Where did Tony Blair come in a poll of Britain's favourite Prime Ministers? Was it first, third or fifth? Answer after the break.